Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of First Cut Live. I was about to say a talk on Titan, but that is not the case. I am obviously here with my starting lineup, my all-stars starters. I am drafting right now, and my number one pick and my number two picks are obviously Sabrina and RB3. What is up, guys?
Hey. Hi. How are you guys all doing in the chat? Thank you so much. Apologies for the delay, but we are here. We are ready on this beautiful Thursday. We're here for the hot takes. We're here for the energy. Let's go.
Yeah. How are you feeling, RB3?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Yeah, sincerely, my apologies for being late. Yeah, it was all on me. I literally left work like super. I thought a good time, like I thought an appropriate amount of time, but you can never get past LA traffic. And then we actually get here, and then there's tech issues, and then all this stuff. So yeah, that's all on me. My bad. Let me get the there we go, the trumpets. Yeah, that's it. And I'm also doing this. This is also a little weird setup for me too, because I'm using wireless headphones because my normal headphones for some reason magically are just like not working. So like I'm kind of like engineering blind. I don't even know what any sounds are coming out of this sound machine are sounding like. I'm just hearing y'all right now, so it's a little weird. It's a little weird.
All good, man. No worries. Obviously, we are here to talk about quite a few topics. I might be piecing out maybe a little bit later, or maybe I'll make it in time. We'll see. Either way, whatever the conversation takes us, that is where we are going. But let's start with some breaking news. And by breaking news, I mean breaking rumors. So it's nothing confirmed, nothing necessarily concrete. But what we do know is that we have a potential official / not official X-Men perspective for the MCU Kevin Feige universe that has become the Marvel Disney Studios, called The Mutants. It's supposed to be a film introducing the mutants and the X-Men world to the MCU world. This is something that has been in the making for quite a bit. I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts. I have a ton because I'm an X-Men guy and I already immediately concluded a lot of things. But I want to hear you guys first, starting with Sabrina.
Yeah, it kind of has me curious because I didn't get to dive into the article as much as you did, but it gets me curious on what characters they're going to want to introduce into the MCU, what we're going to see tonight, possibly with WandaVision. I feel like kind of like the timing with this like rumor, with this kind of story is a little interesting. I feel like there's so many different directions to go, and I do trust them to seamlessly like add mutants and the X-Men into the MCU because it already kind of fits so well. We were able to take something like Guardians, mix that up with people like Iron Man and Captain America, and they did a great job of it. It's just handling all of those kind of ideas tonally and making sure it makes sense for the MCU going forward. But I could totally see this kind of popping up in the future in like little parts in the films that we already know are happening. And then, yeah, ultimately having their own. Obviously, we know with New Mutants, that whole situation, it's kind of crazy, honestly, how that film was like, it sat on the shelf for so long with this entire merger. And now they have a whole blank slate to start from scratch. So I'm wondering how they're going to implement that, what characters they're going to be interacting with. So I'm just excited for that. And of course, the Fantastic Four. We know it's coming. It's just a matter of when.
RB3, what are your thoughts on the mutants?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is interesting. I really didn't know too much about this until, y'all had informed me about it. I'm curious. I don't know if this is true or not. I personally feel like I don't want to get to too many spoilers with WandaVision, but I think there is a little bit of like elusiveness, a little bit of like red herring going on a little bit, like, Marvel might be pivoting us in one direction and really is headed somewhere else. I don't know. That's just maybe what I'm thinking. But I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they wanted to cross it over. It's just the question of how much of the existing universe do they want to bring into this universe. And like, what is Kevin Feige's fondness to like the mutants thing anyway? Because if you read, because I have this book called the movie Business Book, written by the great Jason Squire, who was a teacher at USC, professor at USC, and Kevin Feige writes in that book, he considers the first 2000 X-Men movie to be the beginning of the Marvel comeback, of the resurgence of Marvel, and what ultimately ends up where we are now in the current state of cinema. So it's just kind of, I wonder how closely does he think he is to that franchise? I don't know.
Yeah, I think, I honestly, okay, maybe this is just me, man, but I honestly don't think that's the case. I think this is confirmation that there is no Fox universe, that Fox universe is done. Because I think, again, we don't want to get too spoilery in WandaVision, but I don't think that moment in the WandaVision that a lot of people thought was like, oh, it's officially Fox universe crossover. I don't think that's what it meant. I literally think it was just a wink at the camera. And I think we got confirmation of that the episode afterwards, when we find out that that character isn't a real character from that we know and love. It's just a creation of someone else. So I don't think this is crossing over whatsoever. I honestly think that this is official confirmation that we are introducing the mutants, and not even X-Men, mutants. Like, X-Men doesn't exist because there hasn't been mutants in this universe. So how could there be an X-Men if there haven't been mutants? So now this movie is going to be more like what happens when like half the population in the world suddenly has powers. What happens then? I think that's what it's going to be about, when it's suddenly people now have powers. And that's why it's not called X-Men, it's called mutants, because X-Men wouldn't exist if there was mutants around already. And I think the Deadpool universe, everyone's going to scream at me, Deadpool. And I think that's a separate thing. I really do, where they're just keeping that in a separate bubble and just letting it be rated R. And even Kevin Feige said, I'm keeping that separate. I'm letting just one movie be rated R. And that's the movie that's already been made. Everything else is going to be PG-13. Everything else is going to be my vision. And I don't think this is, I think Fox is dead. I think the Fox X-Men is dead, officially, especially with this, because I think the mutants, calling it the mutants is like, you're not calling it X-Men. That means you're literally just introducing mutants. Like, let's say WandaVision ends and half the population has powers. Boom, mutants. I don't know what you think of that.
I mean, yeah. You go, Sabrina.
Do you want the X-Men Fox franchise to come in? Because I don't.
I feel like there is a way to maybe keep some of the same characters. It is interesting. I understand.
But is it going to be like Ty Sheridan?
Same, like even like actors, not
Michael
necessarily
Fassbender,
like Ty Sheridan and people like that, but I feel like there could have been some interesting way. I mean, we're going into like multiverse, we're going into all these different directions. If it clashes with another and then suddenly some of the people get to kind of like cross over, there are a lot of like well-known actors that were a part of this that they could bring in and it could work really well with the group that we have. It's like, how do you let that go?
I wanted to let it go. I think the farther we get away from the Bryan Singer bullshit.
Oh, see, there's something different. But I don't think they think of it that way.
Introduce your own version. Introduce your own version. Let the old version die.
Disney, Marvel loves introducing new versions, and they do a great job of introducing new versions. And as much as I was clowning on Spider-Man last week, or Tom Holland Spider-Man last week, I do love Spider-Man Homecoming. I've said multiple times I love Spider-Man Homecoming because I think it did a really great job introducing a new version of the character. And I think they could introduce a new version of mutants. I wouldn't put it past them to also ease people into that with the Fox stuff a little bit. And I think right now we're entering like the multiverse age with, WandaVision, with, Doctor Strange, with Spider-Man, with all these other, potentially, something else was rumored to be like a multiverse thing. So there's all these other multiverse things happening. I really wouldn't put it past Kevin Feige, as much as he loves the X-Men franchise. I wouldn't put it past him to get like a cameo from like, who's Patrick Stewart or Sir Ian McKellen or I just wouldn't put it past him. That's it.
I am so against it. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, sure, but I really do feel like this is okay. It's called the Mutants. It's not called X-Men. He's literally telling you that I'm introducing the concept of mutants to you in this film. Like, literally what happens when people suddenly become mutants and get powers through whatever happens in WandaVision or whatever happens in Doctor Strange, whatever kind of effect happens inside that. And instead of like no more mutants, it's like, hey, let's bring mutants. And what happens to the world when, you know, suddenly people have crazy weird powers? I think that's more what he's leaning towards, instead of just being like, it's going to be Magneto versus Spider-Man and it's Michael Fassbender, and all of a sudden it's going to be this, you know, your James McAvoy's back and he's using his mind powers. And I'm like, oh, just let it go. Just make a new version, do your own thing, get away from the Fox, Bryan Singer stuff, and just do your own thing. I don't know. That's just I just think it's lazy to just kind of, it's like, here you go. And it's like, oh.
I think there's a difference between bringing it all over and bringing like a character or two. I do like the idea of distancing from that and kind of creating something new. It's just, how many times have we seen new things? Like, obviously we have the original like X-Men, and then we have this new one that happened in the last few movies, and then it just keeps going. And it's like, I feel like they kind of spent up a lot of their really popular characters, and that's not the most important thing in the entire world, but I feel like a lot of the most like recognizable mutants that we have were kind of used in all of these films. So it's going to be interesting, because I don't want another like Jubilee, you know, unless they do it right, because we had Lana Condor, we have other people playing Jubilee, and it's just a character that's like pushed to the side. But I don't want a third actress playing Jubilee if they're just gonna like not do anything with it. You know what I mean? Like I want to see some of these big mutants that we've either haven't seen on screen yet or already have, but just haven't, you know, kind of been like done like justice. Like, genuinely, when I'm telling you, if they took like Lana Condor again and then brought her into the MCU, I am 100% here for it. I'm not talking about the Jennifer Lawrences or any of that, but a few of these smaller characters that they didn't take a lot of time with, I wouldn't be mad at seeing it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, yeah, you can't tell. Wait, Ace.
Yeah, I can.
Stop
I totally
it.
can.
You said they're done with the Fox. They still got Deadpool.
Yeah.
They still got Deadpool.
Again, even Kevin Feige said that it's separate. He just said it like a week ago.
Hey, he's still making it. There's still. I mean, Deadpool is a like an inherently separate character, but it has a connection. It has a fan base, and people like are gonna flock to that. So I think. Listen, I think if you telling me if Hugh Jackman goes up to Kevin Feige's office, he knocks on Kevin Feige's door.
He's done.
And
done.
I mean, I don't know. The check, the money, the Disney bag, the quarantine bag. I mean, he could. I mean, but you know, I don't know. I think there's real opportunity. I think
let it go, man.
Listen, I want to let go of these movies more than anybody, because I do like these movies, but I do think, yes, make original stories, make original things. I do agree with Sabrina, like highlight side characters. I think what Marvel would do a really good job of highlighting like side characters and small characters. But like the idea of mutants, like it would have to be a completely different and original story to begin with to even tell something outside of the X-Men is.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of what the title is hinting at? Like, don't you guys think it's kind of leaning that way if it is called The Mutants? Like, don't you guys get that vibe off of it? That it is like this new introduction of like the new, like literally new mutants without calling it New Mutants, because obviously. But I'm saying, like, why would he call it The Mutants if it wasn't new? Why wouldn't he call it like Magneto Returns or some bullshit like that? Like, it's called The Mutants. That's because he's introducing it, right?
I mean, also, I think this could be, I don't know, this could be something that's just bigger than movies, right? Because we've seen recently Marvel had canceled the X-Men comic books like back in like, what was it, like 2013 or something like that, for a good extended period of time. So like, you know, is their priority really like X-Men like that much? I don't know. Like they have to really, I guess what I'm saying is like X-Men's
pretty popular, man.
Yeah, I mean X-Men is popular like for a lot of people in a lot of generations today, but are comic books really even like popular in general like right now? Like do people even like buy comic books, engage in comic books, like even know what these stories are coming from? And I'm saying that because like most people who are familiar with X-Men are familiar with the movie interpretations. Like most people who know the X-Men characters and know what X-Men is and know what mutants are mostly familiar with Professor X and Magneto because they saw it in the movies, right? Sure. Or because they saw it in the animated show or the animated series. Yeah. But I think is there even a point to making an X-Men or mutants thing if you're taking away essentially like all the key characters that are associated with with the X-Men brand to begin with.
I'm not saying taking him away. I'm saying just reintroduce him. Don't bring in Ty Sheridan or Sophie Turner or Michael Fassbender. Or,
right,
Patrick
but there's
Stewart.
that. But
don't bring those same actors in to play the same roles. That's lazy to me.
The Patrick Stewart and everything, like, I do understand, but even like the Ty Sheridan, like whatever, they had their opportunity with all of those. But I do think like seeing more of Charlie Heaton's character in New Mutants, Anya Taylor-Joy, if she wanted to come back, I mean, she's huge now. Obviously, when it filmed, she was pretty huge. Lana Condor, you could mix them all up in that way, and that's why you can have this Mutants title. Sure. Also, I do not.
But it would be new versions, right? Is that what you mean?
Kind of like crossing them over. I mean, we're dealing with the multiverse as we're talking about. So like there's so many different ways that you can introduce these characters into this world, even though they were first introduced as something differently. Also, I completely don't care for that decision. If this is an official decision, I don't know, to separate Deadpool, because I feel like we had so many like really interesting interactions with Deadpool and Spider-Man in the comics. It would be a shame if Tom Holland and Ryan Reynolds don't get a chance to like banter on screen. How could you waste that?
I think so.
How could you waste that?
I think so.
No, because Sony is already excluding Marvel from this. So if Sony's already trying to separate themselves as much as they can, then all of a sudden you're trying to introduce it. Like literally, Sony is saying goodbye to the MCU with Spider-Man 3. They even said it. They're like, this is it. This peace out. It's over. We're done. And now all of a sudden Deadpool's going to come in with Sony?
Well,
like,
we're going to see, because they're trying with Venom 2. They're trying with all of that. I guess we have to see how all of this works out, because, you know, they're building their own thing. But if Venom 2 is a like complete failure, they're like, what do we do with this now? What do we do with everything? Oh, we have Venom, we have Carnage, we have Deadpool, we have Spider-Man. Like, let's bring them all together. Deadpool. They don't have Deadpool, but they can bring him in if they reach a new deal, because right now they're saying bye. They also like said bye before. Like there were so many different times that, you know, there's all this talk about stuff, but we don't know until we see it on screen. So until they definitely like have that separation, as of right now, Tom Holland is still in the MCU. His Spider-Man's still in the MCU, and Deadpool is now too. We might possibly get that interaction, because there's no way you can just let that go to waste. There's too many examples of in the comic books of mutants and all of them coming together in different ways. Like, I think it would genuinely be a shame if we didn't at some point get a Professor X and maybe like another Wolverine or Hugh Jackman. I just don't know if audiences can take to another actor playing Wolverine, because Hugh Jackman is Logan.
Yeah, that's why I would probably stray away from Wolverine for at least one or two movies. I wouldn't start with Wolverine. I would start with another character. But I still feel like the best decision is to recast, reboot, redo it. Don't just bring in, hey, it's Hugh Jackman and he's 60 years old, but he's doing it again. And it's Patrick Stewart. He's 100 years old, but he's back. And it's like, come on.
No,
like,
I get that.
Let it go.
But I guess my question is, like, do they even still do the Professor X and the Magneto thing in general?
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm reading into this, and I'm surprised you guys are like, it's called the Mutants, guys. Like, it's not even called X-Men. Like, that means like there's potentially no Professor X or no Magneto, because if you're saying this world that we've lived in since, what is it, Iron Man 2008, where there's no such thing, like literally Iron Man was the first weird thing that people saw, and it's just a guy in an iron suit. And then we go from there to eventually Super Soldier Serum to Thor, which that introduces the element of like this crazy planet alien where they think they're gods. That's a new thing that people saw, but there's no such thing as mutants. Now all of a sudden that same world has mutants, or half the population is just mutants. That means there is no Professor X necessarily right away, or there is no Magneto to deal with, like, you know, issues or political social issues that are coming up, because they just started coming up. But you can introduce them slowly, though. I think so.
Yeah, I don't think they're going right away. Like, I understand with the title and all of that. And I honestly really like that. Like, I want to see something different.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But if they did bring over, like I said, like a Jubilee or something like that, I would be happy with it. And I think they can find a way. Also, I know Wanda's not a mutant in like the MCU right now, but I don't know, some of the things that they kind of bring up with like her and Quicksilver, obviously, I don't want to talk like WandaVision spoilers, but she had magic. She had an ability already. And they kind of talked about that. And it's like, what if that's what it is and we find out like later on? You know what I mean? Like how are they necessarily dealing with all of that? Because I don't know, you can go in a few different directions.
You could do that. I could see that.
She had her power already
I
before.
would say that's a little bit more them leaning towards like magical abilities, which is why it's leaning towards Doctor Strange. Because then you would say, again, we're talking spoilers now. I guess spoilers, guys. Sorry, I can't say it without not addressing her comment. Then you would say Agatha was a mutant, and I don't think that's what she was leaning towards. I think that's more like witchcraft, and she was a witch, like literally had possessed that ability as a witch, and that's why they're leaning towards the Doctor Strange witchcraft magic kind of thing. I don't think that's necessarily mutants, but you could still say that she created mutants. I could see that. Yeah, like if she can create beings, maybe like she can create. I mean, think about her kids
right now.
Yeah,
think about kids. Like her kids.
What if those are the two first mutants? What if Wiccan and Speed are the two first mutants, and those kids are literally like Adam and Steve, Adam and Eve. You know what I mean? Like the first mutants. Yeah, I don't know, like the first mutants, first mutant kind, and that's her kids, and she created that, and using her new abilities, and now all of a sudden, if she multiplies that times a million, boom, mutants.
I feel so bad for them. I was gonna say I feel so bad for the casual WandaVision watch you. I
said like, spoilers.
I didn't even have a second to click away. I'm sorry.
It's finishing tonight, but you don't get the kid from Haunting of Hill House, that super great young actor, without wanting to do stuff in the future with him.
Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely something here. So whether with like her conception.
I absolutely agree with you, Sabrina. I'm literally doubling down on what you're saying. All I'm saying is I don't want Michael Fassbender to show up and be like, "What's up, guys?" or Patrick Stewart to be like, "Oh, well, you know, I'm controlling you now." And it's like that would be lazy. But Wiccan and Speed and that's cool because I think that's new. Like you said, it's new actors, new blood. You could introduce that into like maybe a new Avengers, like a young Avengers,
West Coast Avengers.
Yeah, West Coast Avengers, whatever you want. But I think at least that's new, right? At least it's not Patrick Stewart or Ian McKellen rolling up in a wheelchair.
That's definitely in the past.
Right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I just want him to make a new version, and the title of this, if it is true, guys, we still don't know if it is, hints that it'll probably be what happens if suddenly there's mutants, not X-Men, but mutants, where people have powers and then people have to deal with the ramifications of it. Like I could see people like Hayward, you know, Hayward in WandaVision, being like super anti-mutant, right? Like he would be like, screw these people who got powers. Like, who are they to get powers? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like that. And then you can introduce the political issues of what happens now that people have powers. And there's people like Hayward who want to oppress them. And then there's people like Monica Rambeau who want to help them. And then you can deal with like, you know, mutants. And then eventually by the third film, you could be like, and all of a sudden here comes this bald guy. And he's like, I'm going to make a team of them called X-Men. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, that's the thing is like, there's so much to like work with. You have so much source material, so many different directions you could go with these stories, with these characters. I think that they have a lot of things that they could work with. I do think the timing is interesting with WandaVision. And so I wasn't necessarily saying that Wanda's a mutant, but I do think that this is going to kind of lead us somewhere. And it is, I do feel like you can kind of mix this all together pretty organically. Like it's not, we've seen some crazy stuff already in the MCU. I don't think it would be that difficult if something happens, if Wanda creates something or whatever goes down to be like, oh yeah, now these people are mutants. Her kids are mutants. Maybe something could happen in the future. There could be some bigger thing it makes sense. And also I do like the idea, and that's why I kind of mentioned New Mutants earlier. I do like that idea of like a more, I don't know, like a ragtag type of thing. Like not everybody with their same uniforms or like, you know, having all of that with like the X-Men. I like this starting ground with it.
Yeah. What do you think, RB3?
Oh, you're muted.
Oops, sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm again not hearing myself. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like to see what they do with the MCU. Like I like you said, Andres, the political angle they could take with it. But at the same time, like, you know, I don't know, man. I feel like they're just gonna keep trucking, and eventually I don't know. I don't know. So my hopes are.
What are you even saying? I'm so confused.
I don't know, man. I really don't know.
You're just like, yo, man. I just, you know what? I mean, it's one of those things where, like, you know.
I'm really I'm trying to think of something. I'm trying to think of a take.
Like, it is what it is, but it is what it is.
I just want to say, hey, Marvel, make your money, man. That's all I want to say. That's it. Make the money, make the movies.
What is happening?
That's all. That's all I got. That's my take. I don't know. That's all I got. I really don't care.
I just want him to get away from the old X-Men, the Bryan Singer stuff. I adore those movies. X2 is one of my favorite movies ever.
X-23.
X-Men First Class is amazing. Logan is a great film, but I still think it should be moved on. You can't just keep redoing it over.
You're telling me, though, that it wouldn't be sick to see X-23 again. Yeah. I want to see X-23 again. That's the first time.
Give me a different actress.
No, not Daphne
Keane.
Keane. Come on.
Yeah, nah. Daphne Keane would be perfect.
Let it die, bro.
She has to do it. She's older now too, so it could be a different version of the character because she's older. So she looks different.
No, I think they should let it go, man. Think about how that film just ends. It's just good. Just let it go.
Yeah,
but they were planning stuff with her. They were planning stuff with her already. So I mean, like, you can get away from that film and still like have X-23, have someone like Jubilee, have like Anya Taylor-Joy and Charlie Heaton and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say Anya Taylor-Joy, Daphne Keene. You know, keep Evan Peters. They already got Evan Peters. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they already showed they're trying to.
They just said he's not real.
I mean,
that's a little too on the that's a little too much of a wink. Like, that's doing too much if they don't have plans to possibly bring some people back. I think it's a little too much.
But it is what it is. That's what Kevin Feige wanted. He wanted it too much of a wink.
They put him on Disney Plus for a reason too. They put him on Disney Plus for a reason. Like, they put him on Disney Plus for a reason.
Literally to troll.
It is business decision, money.
Troll.
I bet you if the Disney executives see that the X-Men movies do amazing streaming numbers, let's make sure we get Hugh Jackman and pay him $30 million, and you know, because they'll see I'll get a stream. So I don't know.
Nah, I don't think so. I mean that's already been confirmed as literally a giant troll, a giant wink at the camera. Paul Bettany even said he was trolling for some other stuff. Like, I just think they're moving on from it. I don't think this has anything to do with it other than just winking at the camera. So
can we talk about that really quick?
Sure.
Unless I know. I
mean, we've already spoiled all of it. So
well, no, I know you have. I know you have an out. So, but really quick, the idea of, because it's been something that's, I have not partaken in any of like this discourse. You know, you open Twitter, it's just discourse every goddamn day. I just want to live. But it's the WandaVision discourse on like some of the creators coming out and going like, hey, people are going to be disappointed because, you know, it's fun to have theories. It's fun to come up with what you think is going to happen next. But then you get so dead set on something happening. And if it doesn't happen, you're all of a sudden like, no, this is trash. Yeah. And that never made sense to me because I know that they can create a show better than I can right now for WandaVision. These are the people that have been killing it for episodes. Their ideas are probably a lot better than mine. So even though I have theories, even if I'm excited for things, if something happens, I'm going to trust them to tell this kind of story because they've done a great job of it up until this point.
100% agree.
No, that's something that happens, I think, with all shows and all shows. I mean, Damien Lindelof has talked about that extensively. Yeah. And I think to some extent, you know, I do get it. Like, to some extent, I am that disappointed fan sometimes. Like I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I watched the first 8 episodes of Watchmen and thought they're brilliant. I watched episode 9 and I was a little underwhelmed. I was a little like, oh, this is how it ended. It wasn't as brilliant as I thought it was going to be, but it was still good. But I think, you know, I get that perspective, but I also think, you know, yeah, you just kind of have to trust the show, trust the creators. And if you love it so far for a reason. So that's
I agree with you, Sabrina. I think people put way too much on this show. Like, my God, they're like Fantastic Four, then Sue Storm is going to come out and it's going to be crazy. And then all of a sudden it's going to be John Krasinski with Emily Blunt and they're going to kick ass and they're going to be like, what's up, bitches? And it's like, dude, chill.
Like, who's the scientist that was mentioned in 3 seconds in this one episode? And it's like, that's the kind of stuff. Cause I understand like anticipation and excitement, but it's that type of thing. Like if we don't end with Fantastic Four or something like that tonight, they'll be like, oh, throw away the whole show. And
it's like I've been saying that since episode 1, Sabrina. Like, if you see any of my tweets, you will see that I've been on board with literally just give me like Wanda and Vision hanging out in a sitcom and I'm good. I don't need any teases. I don't need any cut scenes or like after credit scenes of like new characters. I just like hanging out with them. I just think it's funny and quirky and weird and different and unusual and not usually what Marvel does. And I do think, if I'm being completely honest, that the show is going to end with Wanda coming to terms with who she is in WandaVision and inside her bubble, her hex, and that's it. It's not going to be a crazy, the X-Men come out and Wolverine pulls out his claws and he cuts down the hex. Like, it's just not going to happen, dude. Like, it's just not. And it's okay. Like, enjoy the show for what it is. That's just what I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there will be consequences, like, you know, outside of like it just being
like I feel like she'll probably, I don't know, do something, but I think it'll settle around her. I don't think it's gonna be like
some
super John Cena music shows up and boom, this other character. Like, it's not. It's gonna be about her and her ramifications of what she's doing and what she's done. Yeah. Everything she's been going through. Like, that's it, and that's what matters to me. I don't care about anything else. I
hate getting people get overly excited for that stuff. I personally am the fan who gets disappointed when like I feel like the storytelling isn't up to snuff. Like, there's definitely like I said, for Watchmen, I felt like the 9th episode didn't live up to first 8. For Legion, I felt like the first like 2 seasons were amazing. And then by the time we got to the 3rd season, it was a good finale. It was good. It just didn't like hit the same way as like I remember the 1st season hitting me. So it's just like things like that. That's where I get more disappointed and adjust more as a fan. But I can never put too much stock into like what my theories are, because I know for me, I'm always going to be disappointed. Even if I go into a movie and get my theory like completely 100% right, that's even if they do the theory right and the execution's poor, I'm still gonna be mad, you know. So
that's different. That's real though. Like if you're disappointed by something from a storytelling point, or it's just like lackluster, that's completely understandable. It's not like, if I don't see John Krasinski in this episode,
and I think that's so unfair. And again, I'm a Star Wars fan, so trust me, guys, I know all about this. I've been dealing with this for a minute. When it comes to fans theorizing and being disappointed if it doesn't turn out the way they wanted it. My God, the entire sequel trilogy is that. But again, it's one of those things where I think it's fine just being what it is, WandaVision, not WandaVision plus teases towards other characters. Like, who cares, man? Like, let it be what it is, WandaVision. That's what the show's called. I'm excited for it either way. Let's move on to the Golden Globe stuff, unless you guys have any other news that I haven't hit on.
Well, do you have to go? You have to go, right?
Yeah, give me like 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Okay. Golden Globes. They gave all the Black People Awards. Let's go.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was going to say that, but you said it for me.
Yeah, they just was like, they're like, oh, we can nominate any like movies in the Best Picture category. Let's just give every Black person everything just for no reason. Even if we haven't seen the movie yet, just give them the award, you know? And I love it. I love that kind of attitude. I like that.
Yeah, what do you think, Sabrina?
Yeah, I thought overall, a lot of them, it kind of, I don't know, a lot of the winners like aligned with what I thought, but then there was a few different directions. But of course, this voting committee is very, very small. And this does not really, I don't know, because I'm talking about for like, what's her name? Andra Day, who won Best Actress in like the most stacked Best Actress year. Like, for the United States versus Billie Holiday.
I was going to say,
over Frances McDormand, over Carey Mulligan, who I thought was going to win the Golden Globe, Viola Davis. Like, that's just crazy. So I don't think this changes kind of like Oscar consideration. I do think that Viola, Frances, I think they're all still the front runners.
Yes, I agree with that. But I think it changes for one category, and that's Daniel Kaluuya. I think he's the front runner now.
Best supporting actor.
Yeah. I think after that win and after people talking about Judas and the Black Messiah, I think people are suddenly being like, you know what? This is probably it. This is probably the best performance of the year. We're probably going to give it to Kaluuya. I think that this one kind of made him the Oscar front runner. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but that's my first thought that was literally the first award. And I was like, oh yeah, this is it. He's making it. The campaign starts.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was between him and Leslie Odom Jr. from One Night Miami. I mean, those are probably the two top contenders right now.
But if I have to choose, even I love Leslie Odom and I thought his performance was amazing. But even if I had to choose, I would choose Kaluuya, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would too. I would too. He was a brilliant performance. He really took over the movie, and even though there's probably going to be a good amount of conversation around like the British thing, and there's going to be a good amount of conversation around like the historical accuracy of certain parts or whatever. There's going to be that conversation, of course. But I do think his performance was transcendent enough to like overcome a lot of that. Yeah. So.
And I agree 100%. And I also love like John Boyega getting that win. Yeah, that was another big one.
I screamed out loud. I love that.
That was truly another big one that was so important because it is such an incredible performance, and Small Axe getting any of that love. We did separate reviews on every single one of those films. We did a meaning of episode. We loved Small Axe. We talked about it basically any chance we got when we were talking about directors, best films of the year. So I was just happy to see
Steve
that
McQueen
get love.
was robbed, man, to be honest. That should have won. That should have won for sure.
It's still so underseen. Literally nobody is watching Small Axe.
So underseen.
I don't know how.
It's ridiculous.
So that's another thing. And also just talking about the races in general, because obviously we're going to be getting the Oscar nominations pretty soon, like very, very soon. So I'm very nervous for all of that. I think still when we're talking about like best actor, like the main performances I want to at least see get like nominated. I want to see Delroy Lindo. I want to see Steven Yeun. I want to see Riz Ahmed, and of course Chadwick Boseman. Those are the four. I don't want to see Gary Oldman. Anthony Hopkins, I didn't see the movie, but these four are the ones that I have to see on this list. And honestly, if it went to any of those four, obviously it's probably going to go to Chadwick, but if it went to any of those four, I would be happy with it because those were four incredible performances. So it's nice to see the actually like really great performances get reflected onto the nominations.
In a different generation, right, Sabrina? Yeah. Where it's not just, no offense, but it's not just old dudes like a Gary Oldman or an Anthony Hopkins or just the same old dudes. Like, as great as they are, like, let's start to like, start to make some names inside Hollywood with some new fresh blood, like a Steven Yeun or a Riz Ahmed or a Daniel Kaluuya. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just the same old dudes. Like, let's start to, give Oscars to some up and coming talent, and then they could start to kind of rise up from that. I would love it if it went to Kaluuya, man, because I really do feel like that homie's been, ever since I saw him in Black Mirror, I was like, yo, that guy can act. Like, he can act his ass off. That episode of Black Mirror, you remember that episode, right?
It's so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he kills it, bro. When he's doing his speech and he's doing his like crazy rant, I was like, that homie is giving it all. And then to Get Out, I thought he was worthy of the Oscar nomination, and he got the Oscar nomination from it. He was nominated for it, and he deserves it because he was incredible in it. So I would love it if he wins. I think Kaluuya is one of the best talents we have in Hollywood today. Also Riz Ahmed. Also Steven Yeun, like all those guys have been hustling for a minute, and it's time to like crown the new kings instead of like give crowns to old kings who are on their way out.
Like Gary Oldman did a movie this year. Let's give him the award. I'm sick of it.
Gary Oldman's one of the greatest actors of all time, but yeah, man, let's crown someone else, bro. Let's crown the new Gary Oldman. I like Mank too. I like Mank a lot, but I think he might low key, if I'm being honest. If I'm being real, I think he low-key deserves a nomination. I wouldn't give it necessarily to him, the win, but I thought he was dope, bro. I thought he was dope in that movie.
Yeah, he was good.
But I still feel like, let's crown new kings, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
let's do it, man. And I feel like this is what it's coming to. Did you guys know John Boyega is in Attack on Titan?
Oh, for real? Oh, no way. No way.
So he's been a fan of Attack on Titan for years, and homeboy creator of the show put him in the show.
We gotta get him on a Talk on Titan.
He does that a lot. Like, he puts people, like, he didn't actually put him in the show. A lot of people are going to be mad at me when I say that, but he basically, like, made a character around, like, that kind of, you know what I mean? Like,
John Boyega.
Yeah, it's like making a character about me, like, putting my face in animation and call me Alejandro or something. Like, it's like that. Like, you're basically making him, but he didn't make him. But he does it a lot. Like, the creator just takes people he knows from, like, other media, and he's like, oh, that guy has a cool look. I'm gonna put him in my anime version. But his name is Onyoko Bon in Attack on Titan. Nice Japanese ass name.
Oh, he's black too?
But he's black. Yeah, he's hella black. He looks like John Boyega. Like, he's straight up like.
Oh,
it's funny as hell. Anything else that stood out to you in the Golden Globes, guys?
Of course, Chloe Zhao. Zhao with director, and then Nomadland for motion picture drama. That's all just like really exciting. Of course, like we love to see that. First of all, just like the fact that 3 women were nominated. Women genuinely ran 2020 in film. Like really,
3
some of the best stuff.
Nominations. Regina King.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Exactly. And Emerald Fennell, like, as well. Like, it's just exciting to see something like that. So yeah, I'm very nervous about these Oscar nominations for this past year, because there's so many different directions that it could go, especially when we're talking about, because obviously the Golden Globes separates like genres at certain points with like drama, and then like motion picture, like comedy musical. Yeah. And so like Rosamund Pike won over like Anya Taylor-Joy for Emma, and Maria Bakalova, which I was kind of surprised about. I thought Maria Bakalova was going to win that.
Me too.
Yeah, I think
too.
Yeah, that's the Netflix money definitely there. And, you know, it definitely came out right in time for the promotion. But I definitely want to shout out Borat 2. I love Borat 2. It's a great film. And actually, the guy who was one of the main camera guys on this film, Chris Darnell, we work together at Network a lot. Really cool dude. He tells a lot of great like behind the scenes stories about like filming it or whatever. But yeah, Borat 2, absolutely amazing. I think it well deserved both the comedy category and Sacha Baron Cohen. And I do wish there was some sort of way award Sacha Baron Cohen outside of Best Supporting Actor for Child Chicago 7 in terms of the Oscars. You know, I do wish they could nominate him for Best Lead Actor if there was like the space for it. But, you know, there's probably not. Or screenplay or something.
I forgot that one screenplay. I laughed out loud so hard when that won. That's that Netflix money, bro. That free tour, free flights.
Netflix picked up a lot. Yeah, Netflix picked up a lot.
You know, that LA Times article came out about the HFPA talking about how they're pretty ghetto, pretty corrupt, and how they are happily taking any kind of things they have, such as trips. Apparently, they did a crazy Emily in Paris trip that had 35 members of the HFPA fly out, and then all of a sudden Emily in Paris is the best show of the year. And I was like, what? Over I May Destroy You?
I want to just let you know, I watched it and it was not good. Like, it was genuinely just not good.
Of course it's not. I believe you. I absolutely believe you, Sabrina. Of course like it's not. And of course it was nominated. And of course, like, over I May Destroy You. Garbage. A show that actually presents something. But hey, man, that free flight to Paris and that all expenses paid hotel and all that jazz. Like,
HBO, why don't y'all fly people out to Italy for I May Destroy You? That would have been something. That would have been something. Fly people out to Italy for that movie. It's right there. Or for that show. It's right there.
It just sucks that that's kind of like, that's so normal. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you want us to pay attention to your show? I mean, hey, I'll say I love Emily in Paris if they fly me out somewhere, you know, when it's safe.
Yeah.
If they want to do that, I'm cool with it. But yeah, that was definitely junk food, like television. I breezed through it in like 2 seconds.
And who's Jodie Foster and what's that movie? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Where'd that come from? What are we watching? Like, who are these people?
I don't know.
The Mauritanian or something like that.
Oh yeah, the Mauritanian. The Mauritanian.
The Mandalorian.
No, we're both wrong. We're both wrong.
The Rangers of the New Republic. What?
Yeah, the show itself was trash too. The Golden Globes itself, absolute trash. One of the worst award shows.
I thought it was
I've seen,
so
even in
funny
digital world,
when
like-
Kaluuya was on mute the whole time when he started.
You doing me dirty. You doing me dirty. You doing me dirty. I'm like,
And I was like, they are. I love it when they cut back to crap. I'm forgetting her name. Who was presenting the award for Marriage Story from Jurassic Park? Laura Dern.
Laura Dern, yeah.
And she was like, obviously, we've had technical issues. We congratulate Daniel Kaluuya, and we will be moving on. And I was like, no, you can't.
You doing me dirty.
Cool.
You doing me dirty, man. You doing me dirty.
But she was straight up saying, like, we're moving on. It's over. Peace out, Daniel. And I was like, no, that is not fair.
And then, why did Eric Sorkin have like 20 women behind him? I didn't understand that at all. Did y'all get that?
I fast forwarded that, man. I fast forwarded
that.
Trial of Chicago 7, even though I liked the movie.
Yeah.
I just think it wasn't worthy of it. The only other thing I have to say is I did tweet this out, but I'll say it on here just because whatever. It's been enough days and it's not going to get any traction. The Crown deserved every single one of the awards it got. Bam. Straight up. Quote me on that. The Crown is the shit. It's one of the best shows on TV, bro. I had it on my TikTok. Check it out on my TikTok.
Oh my god.
True.
It's a great-ass
TikTok.
show.
First cut TMO on TikTok. Andres breaks down his top shows of last year.
And the Crown's in it. The Crown's in it. Spoiler.
Hey, if there's one thing that Andres loves, it's the Crown. Okay.
Crown, man. Give me that Princess Diana and the Queen. Give me that jazz, bro. Yeah, that was the only other thing I had. I don't know if you guys had anything else.
Yeah, I mean, just overall, it's not the most reliable thing because, like we said, it is a small committee. They fly people out. It's all of that. That's why we get the Marathonians or whatever that movie is, and that's why we get the Emily in Paris.
Yeah, that was right.
Yeah.
Whack.
Yeah. Cool. You guys want to come on Coming to America?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Why not, man?
Show.
Yo, it's late, bro. You guys want to come to America? Coming to America too?
I don't know. I don't know where that pen's going. I don't
know. You guys want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will be exiting the room. F
Bye.
in the chat for respect.
Hey, peace out, Ace.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But either way, have a beautiful night. I love you.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good night. Have a good night
Don't
yourself,
make it too long.
Sorry about that, y'all. Yeah. Sorry about that, brother.
Yeah. No worries, man. No worries. I had a previous engagement, guys. For anyone who realizes
He's getting
this.
engaged.
Yeah, previous engagement, meaning I have to go. Either way, guys, have a beautiful night. I love you.
I love you. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Oh, there we go.
Coming to America.
Give me 1 second. Let me try and get our cameras. Hold up. My bad.
Yeah, no worries. How's everybody in the chat doing? You want to send in some stuff? You want to talk about the Golden Globes? firstcut.live. I'll be putting that in the chat. So yeah, if you're feeling that, now it's just me and RB3. So we got no structure. Okay. The dad has left. All right. The kids are out to play. Let's do it. Ask us anything. Ask us any questions. We're definitely going to be diving into Coming to America in just a moment. And
they have this hilarious view of us right now. Sorry, y'all. Also be doing this live on screen.
Oh my God.
Hey, this is First Cut Live, y'all. If y'all want to see a better infrastructure.
You know, technical difficulties. It's all good. We got Streamlabs in the chat, so help us out.
Help us out. And if you want to see us, like, if you want to see me, never mind. I was gonna say something stupid, like, never mind. Support.
Yeah, support us.
Yeah, it's never a good idea. I was gonna say something like, help me, not work a job anymore, but I like my job. So somebody from network watching.
Yo, you want to help us out?
That's serious.
Come on.
Yeah.
I didn't get any of the stimulus checks, guys. So
yeah, see, that's it. See, I still got filed for my. Apparently, if you like file for California or something, you get one. I don't know what's going on, but
I have no idea. I haven't gotten any. I need to figure something out because I haven't gotten any of this. Oh,
Cinema Gorilla donated $5. Shout out to First Cut Geeks of Color for representing Small Axe and Tenet with their early reviews. That and Mulan are my top movies of the year. Pure cinema escapism yet deep representation, epic for all audiences, timeless man's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me
Is
see.
there more to that message? Thank you, Cinema Gorilla.
Thank you, Cinema Gorilla. You could throw that in firstcut.live, firstcut.live. That's where you can really get in and help support the program. Yeah, thank you, Cinema Gorilla. I'm pulling up that message right now. He said, that and Mulan are my top movies of the year. Pure cinema, escapism, yeah, deep representation, epic for all audiences, timeless, man's voice. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, obviously, like, you know, when we talk about last year, it's such a weird year in film. And like, obviously you and Dorian were able to have that experience with Tenet. We were able to get that review up. It took me a hot minute to see it.
Yeah, no, Tenet's my movie for sure. And Cinema Gorilla knows what's up. I mean, that's, yeah, I seen it in theaters, you know, you get overwhelmed. I was just happy to be back in it.
Yeah.
But we really like watch it and evaluate the cinema is like a completely different thing. So yeah, I'm there for it for sure.
And I mean, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Coming to America, you know, because obviously this would have been a completely different release structure. If everything was normal, this definitely would have been coming out like in a theater as well. But it is dropping on Amazon Prime, probably like late tonight, early tomorrow, that type of situation. So it's kind of interesting because, I mean, when we talk about sequels to comedies, and of course this is going to be a non-spoiler review, so don't worry guys, we'll definitely be like just touching the surface of it and not saying anything too much. But when we talk about sequels to comedies, especially when you're coming off of like decades without touching that property, I find that to be so interesting and honestly probably a little bit difficult. So kind of like, what were your initial thoughts going into Coming to America?
Yeah, I mean, my initial thoughts were, you know, for one, yeah, the original is a classic. Obviously, it was a really good flick that represents like a different kind of like black cinema that's not like super traumatic, that's not like super like over the top and dramatic. It's just a light comedy that's like about pretty much like about I'm trying to make up words about like a good amount of wealth, like wealthy people, wealthy kingdom, a prince, like coming to America and just, you know, being part of that. And it's a fun image. It's a good image that is something that's positive and, you know, definitely against the norm, especially in the late 80s. So now that we've entered the age of like movies like Black Panther and movies that are leaning towards that direction of embracing what the original Coming to America is, like embracing the positivity and the kind of gleam towards a society that's like not like festered with like poverty and like all this other like, you know, sick stuff. This movie kind of comes at like the perfect time to kind of poke at that. Now that definitely means that it doesn't like stand out as much. It definitely means it's not like as like original and as groundbreaking when the first one came out. But they heighten so much of the sensibilities of what the original Coming to America is in terms of like the pacing, the number of cameos. Like this is no longer like the hype for the first movie is so big that this had to be like they almost had to make like a creative decision of like they have to make it like an epic like kind of return to it. Like it had to be like all of you know the top people in the world, and you get a lot of fun cameos. You get a lot of like sharp writing, and when I talk about pacing, particularly what I'm talking about is like the writing. I know Kenya Barris was like one of the screenwriters behind it. Craig Brewer was the director behind it. Craig Brewer obviously directed Eddie Murphy last year in or not last year in 2019 with
Dolomite.
Dolomite is my name, and which was a return to form for Eddie Murphy, and he was really great in that. And I think that, you know, it was kind of like a welcome wake up call back to with that kind of fun, witty, upbeat pacing that we became to love of the OG Eddie Murphy. And I think this movie kind of does that too. I think it does kind of dwell in a much more like fun and much more upbeat and up-tempo Eddie Murphy, especially compared to what we saw in like 2008, 2009, where he was just phoning it in comedy after comedy. So I don't know. I really, really enjoyed this movie a lot.
Yeah, and honestly, I really do echo a lot of what you said. With the original, it is a classic film. It's like you're diving into all these ideas, a completely different world. It's like it's this African country that is affluent and thriving, and that was a much smaller story, I feel like, because we just had Eddie Murphy's character coming to America and falling in love with a woman, and there was just like hijinks, and there was cameos with that one at that time. So with this one, obviously we're following him like decades later. So the hardest thing to do, I feel like, with a comedy sequel like this is honoring everything that the original did, and those kinds of tones and ideas, and then bringing in new fans as well. If you're watching this for the first time, when we're seeing this, we got flashbacks, we got different moments, we got nods to things that happen. So if you have seen the film, you're going to get all of that, and it's awesome. And you're going to find bits and pieces that you can really latch onto. So we have obviously people like Arsenio Hall and other characters coming back. And it really is something incredible to see. Like, the chemistry is through the roof. It was super enjoyable to watch that all play out. But we also have an introduction to new actors who are playing different characters in this film, like his son and his daughters and all of that. And of course, this is somebody we've talked about before, but like Kiki Lane. Lane plays his daughter in this film. And I just think the ideas presented in this one, I think it was a little bit messier. But I don't even think that's to its detriment, because it is genuinely still such a blast to watch this movie. Like, we have a lot more ideas being thrown out. We have new characters, different plot lines and arcs happening. But I think they did a really great job of kind of towing that line of keeping everything together and straight for the entirety of the film. We have the idea of, kind of like something that we saw in Black Panther, where this affluent country is opening itself up to new ideas, to modern ideas, to American ideas. And so it's cool to see that kind of thing on screen, especially when we talk about heir to the throne and all of that, and what it takes to kind of put yourself in this position. So I think overall the comedy was on point. Obviously there's some things that didn't land, but I think most of it really did. And I just enjoyed the scenery and kind of how everybody looked like they were having a blast. Even just throughout this entire film, you could tell everybody was having a really great time. And it's cool to see a character that is so classic and is so loved back all these years later, because it's kind of like what we got with Bill and Ted as well. These were classic characters that everybody fell in love with decades ago, and then we're introduced to them in a completely different situation. And I loved seeing the dynamics between all of that. So yeah, I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. Kiki Lane, I think, is still a standout, even though I feel like they just didn't do as much with her as I would have wanted. I wanted to see a little bit more throughout the film, but Kiki Lane, and also I believe his name is Jermaine Fowler, who plays the son. So good. So perfect. And I just really like that idea, because what we saw in the last film was him acclimating to America, and we get the exact opposite thing with his son coming into this country. So I think it's really cool, and I really enjoyed it.
I thought everything that they did I thought they did enough that was new and enough that was different, enough that was fresh to make it fun and interesting. I thought they expanded out things a lot more in funny, significant enough ways that made it hilarious too. I thought the whole Nextdorian with having Wesley Snipes be the main guy,
yes.
And now they're a war torn impoverished country, but they're using shaker weights and playing Dance Revolution. There's so much funny stuff that is just funny visuals. I think it's fat, and I talk about the one thing that like really was notable to me was the pacing. Like the pacing was really, really fast, especially in the beginning, because like you said, they're jumping from storyline after storyline. I think some people would probably see that as messy. It probably is a little messy, but I think for me, I kind of like suspend my disbelief a little bit with comedies, especially when it's, you know, something like this, you know, like an 80s movie that's, you know, coming back to be remade, because, you know, that's just how like that style is. Like if I like it's if you like Bill and Ted, and if you liked, I don't know, what's another like long gap sequel that like came out recently?
I mean, there's a lot of bad examples.
There's a lot of bad examples, yeah. But
this is one of the better ones.
This is one of the better ones, I think.
Sure.
Personally, and I think a lot of people will ultimately think that, because there is enough to, even if you don't like certain parts, even if you think like, you know, this part was a little underdeveloped, this part was a little like cheesy, like overall there's still enough for everybody to get some enjoyment from. So, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the like new people that we got introduced to with this film, I think that everybody's going to fall in love with those ideas, and it's a different story. It really is. And that's what I think is interesting about the comedy sequels that you were kind of just mentioning, because we had things like oh my God, like Zoolander and like other things like that. Dumb and Dumber is another good example. Oh my God. Yeah. We had those that are kind of just coming back to the same situation, but it doesn't make sense decades later. This introduces, like you said, so many different new ideas that keeps it refreshing. And it's not just a stale version of the same story that we already got and done worse. This is something new and interesting, and there's enough to keep the fans of the original satisfied. But it also is going to bring in kind of a new generation. I feel like Coming to America, the original film, is on Amazon Prime. I feel like something like this popping up might make people want to go watch that one first, or watch it afterwards even, because I feel like it could go either way. So yeah, I genuinely think this group of people, Wesley Snipes being incredible in Dolomite, being hilarious in this one as well. There's a lot to love with the humor. I thought the whole idea of the shake weights and the Dance Dance Revolution and all of that was so funny, because it's like already past, like all of those like random nods and stuff like that. Like that was already old, like years ago, but it's self-aware of that fact. And they even talk about comedy sequels or movie sequels. They talk about it in a very meta way. Like they're very self-aware of what this film is supposed to be and what they want to accomplish with it. And I feel like that's why it's successful.
Yeah, it definitely has a good sense of self-awareness. Definitely winks at the camera a good amount. I think the first one winked at the camera a good amount too. Yeah. But and again, like and I say this again because I'm very familiar with like how, like I do think there's a way that this movie could have went that could have been like a disaster. Like I think if they would have tried to redo the exact same story the exact same way, it would have been trashy. Or if they would have tried to do some other crazy nonsense, like, you know, kill off Eddie Murphy and then make it about something else or whatever. Like there could have been a lot of ways that this could have gone left. But I think they figured out a good balance of how to make the Coming to America humor that we loved so much in the 80s, you know, still work and is still there, while still able to modernize it for younger audiences, for new audiences, and for people who watched it back then. Because I even got to watch it with my mom a little bit, and just from what she saw, she was really into it. So I really, really think that this is something that a lot of people can get behind, and I hope that one day. I hope that it's successful. I mean, I don't know like what the metrics for how successful Amazon Prime exclusive, you know, can be, or how, you know, how the numbers or the viewership is going to be. But I do think this was something that a lot of people were looking forward to. I think this is probably one of those movies that would have done really great at the box office. So I'm just curious and excited to see how well this does for the streaming platform. And that is Amazon Prime.
It is interesting because we got, obviously from Amazon Prime as well, we got Borat just a few months ago. Yeah. And that's a similar situation. It's taking this character, and like what we saw with Borat, we were introduced to a new character. We're taking on a completely different story. It's not Borat coming to America again to do the same exact thing. This is exactly what we got in this one. So I think it's successful in its execution. And I think it's something that people are going to really enjoy because it is refreshing enough. It is a good time. I mean, especially right now, I do feel like something that is just genuinely wholesome. Because something I could say about the original film is that it is so wholesome. Even with its rated R humor, it just, the character is so wholesome. You know, like he genuinely falls in love. He's working, he's rich as hell. He's literally a prince back home, and then he's working this job at like a McDonald's type of place. And so it brings a lot of that, a lot of those tones, a lot of those ideas back to this one. So it genuinely is just like a wholesome good time. And this one's PG-13. I know the original was rated R, and a lot of times that doesn't like sit well with people, but I didn't even see a difference. Like I don't know anything that you could add to this film that makes it like, you know, rated R. Because you know how people are pretty serious about like, oh, this isn't rated R. Like it's not going to be the same idea. It's not gonna be the same feeling. But I think it was still great. Like the only thing was just like no nudity or anything, but that's like the only difference.
Yeah, it was, they restricted the nudity a lot, which was, I think a good decision, because I think, you know, even what we see it being in the 80s, even when it came out back then, it was a little like controversial, but that was like the point, right? The point was to be like shocking, like back then. But now, you know, we're beyond that point, and it's, you know, I think it's something that all ages could get behind, like, and it's something that, you know, people could just watch at home with all kinds of generations. And I think it'll implore parents, if they're showing them part 2 and they like part 2, then if they like part 1, you know, then they put their kids on the part 1, then it comes into the R-rated conversation. So I don't know, I'm excited to see that too. I love seeing an updated version of this film. And, you know, I didn't even make that Borat connection until you just made it right now. But yeah, I guess Amazon does have a thing for like Americans playing like foreign characters coming back to America. Like, I don't know. It's the original. I don't know.
We get the next generation in all these stories. What we got with Borat, we saw his daughter. What we get with this one, we see his kids. And then also like Bill and Ted, we see their kids. It's just, it's like, adding a new layer to these characters and to these stories. So I do find that to be refreshing and interesting, because even though we have Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy and they're doing amazing at what they're doing, I don't want the whole film to be that again. So I did enjoy it. Any final thoughts on Coming to America?
No, I really enjoyed it myself too. I really am looking forward to a lot of people seeing it. Hopefully, again, I guess it's gonna do well because it's on a streaming platform and people have nothing to watch. But this is a pretty crowded weekend when it comes to new releases. I mean, we have Coming to America, we have Raya the Last Dragon, we have Chaos Walking. Let's go! Chaos Walking is finally out after 3 years of me waiting on the edge of my seat. Chaos Walking is here, so I don't know when I'm going to watch that this weekend. But there's a lot. So.
It is stacked, yeah. And I'm excited to get into the conversations about Raya and about Chaos Walking in the future. But yeah, overall, I would highly recommend. I mean, if you have Amazon Prime, you're not losing anything. Definitely check this out. It's under 2 hours, which is always incredible. Right. That's my final thoughts.
Yeah, that's my final thoughts too. I definitely check it out. Great, even though it's a little bit after Black History Month, it's still a really fun piece of Black cinema that I think a lot of people are gonna get behind. So love it. Yeah. Ooh.
Well, I mean, any other stuff to talk about, or are we pretty much good for tonight?
I guess that's it. I mean, yeah, with no Ace, we don't really know what to do here, huh?
I know, it's me and you, and we're like, all right, how do we end the video?
Let me think. Oh, I did want to shout out too. I'm wearing this Malcolm X shirt. I do want to recommend people, if y'all are looking for something to watch, not necessarily in the same like upbeat, funny Coming to America tone, but if you want to watch a good like docuseries, I just finished Who Killed Malcolm X on Netflix, and I don't think it was a Netflix original series, but it's on Netflix. Like, it's a bingeable thing, 6 episodes, and I'm telling you, like, I thought it was gonna be like I'm obviously fascinated in like the subject matter, Malcolm X, Black history, all that stuff, but it really turns into like a real like true crime like series, but like so much so by the time you get to episode 5, like your mind is like blown, like, whoa, how did the police not get this guy? And this dude has him, like, and they have him almost, I mean, I don't want to spoil it too much, but they got I don't think I want to say it because it's too much of a spoiler, but I don't know, it's real life too, so I don't even know, but it's just whatever. Watch Who Killed Malcolm X on Netflix if you care. And it's I'm telling you, it's so riveting. Like I was so mind blown.
Dang, I'm gonna have to check that out, especially after like WandaVision's taking up a lot of my time. I'm not usually a television person. I'm also bad at binging things. Emily in Paris was an exception. It's just because it was so bad that I didn't care. I wasn't paying enough attention to it.
Background music.
That type of situation. I do want to see a season 2 though. It's so bad, but the way they left off, I want to see a season 2. But yeah, I'll have to check that one out, and I'm excited for WandaVision tonight. And of course, you guys could look forward to an episode of The Meaning Of coming out pretty soon. We're very excited. But yeah, I mean, with that, are we heading to the end?
I guess that's it. Yeah, I guess that's it. So there we go.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Obviously, I am stepping in for Andres, doing the thing. So RB3, where can the good people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Director RB3. And of course, you can find us here on the Meaning Of Podcast. And you can find us streaming everywhere. We stream here on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, at First Cut TMO. That's where we at.
Yep, you can find us everywhere. Twitter and Instagram at First Cut TMO. Make sure you guys check out our TikTok as well, like we shouted out in the beginning. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Sabrina X Monica. Also on Twitter at Sabrina on Film. Thank you guys again for spending this Thursday night with us, and we are peacing out. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.